Okay, this is part one of the building a Macropad series. So I just got some parts in from Amazon. I ordered these from Amazon. It cost me a little bit more, but you can get the stuff pretty quick. You can usually get stuff shipped from Amazon in just a few days. So here I got 5 of these 4x4 matrix pads. So I'm just gonna leave one of those out, set the rest of those aside. And I received 3 of the these are the Pro Micro versions of the Arduino. The Pro Micro is different than the Arduino Micro in that it uses the 32U4 microprocessor microcontroller. It's not using the 168P version. And the thing that's really nice about the 32U4 is that it can interface with a computer using the HID or the human interface device drivers. And those don't require any drivers. You can plug them into anything that supports USB, and it'll just appear as a keyboard or a mouse or a joystick or whatever the case may be. Attaching this to my 3D printed enclosure is really pretty simple. So there's just a little peel and stick thing on the back here. So we're going to try and get that with my fat fingers here. See if I can't get that peeled back. And you'll see the way that these membrane keys are. There's actually two pieces of plastic, and one has wires that run one direction. In this case, the top layer sort of runs up and down, and the bottom layer runs this way, right across, right? So some of these first 4 wires are going across, and then the last 4 wires are coming down. That's how those work. So I'm going to go ahead and just run that through the little hole in this enclosure and try and get this lined up as best I can, just like that. And that just peels and sticks. Oh, it's not quite right, but you can reposition these just a little bit so that they'll lay in there quite nicely when it's done. There we go. So that's all that it takes. So now what we have is this little connector on the bottom. And just like we did before, we're going to go ahead and solder these headers onto the Pro Micro. So again, we're going to put these connectors in like this. And you want to be really careful when you put these in to get them as straight as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and line this up to my breadboard. There we go. And I'm going to use a little bit of force to get those down. And you'll see that's very straight. So I'm going to go ahead and tin up my soldering iron. Clean that tip up real nice. The cleaner you can keep that tip, the nicer the results are going to be. So I usually like to start, or often like to start, just go ahead and do the 4 corners first. And that will hold, those bars steady for the rest of them. And we can get those, you can get these connected rather quickly. I know it's not the most exciting thing to see somebody solder on a connector, but I really did want to do all this so that you could see this progress the same way that I do. I've never actually used the Pro Micro before, so we might have a little surprise trying to find the right settings in the software. And I may have to cut away while I play to do that stuff. We'll see how that goes. But I really did want to show you today how ridiculously simple it is to connect this matrix pad to the microcontroller, because it really does just take a moment or so to get that done. So here, just about got all of the connections made on this controller. Now we're going to go ahead and pry this up off of the board. Just use a little screwdriver to do that. Just like that. Oh, and that came out so nicely. Now what we're going to do is connect this to pins 2 through 9 of this controller. And you want to see how difficult that is? Well, you just take this, you plug it in like that, and you give her a push. And that's it. It's completely installed. So now, see, this could just be glued to the back side of this, for example. And that's really all it would take. That's the electronics of it. It's very simple. I'm going to go ahead and cut away for just a moment while I set up the software for programming.